Hey guys, Much Adventure here. Today we are doing more space news, and at the end we'll also be talking about Kerbal Space Program 2, so stay tuned for that. A little bit of gaming, a little bit of space news, a lot of black hole stuff. Very cool stuff. Sit back, get yourself a little tea, and relax, guys, because here we go. Okay, so our first story might be possibly one of the most insane things I've ever heard in my entire life. At the same time, I don't understand any of it. So researchers have announced that they've simulated two minuscule black holes in a quantum computer, and they've transmitted a message between them through what amounts to a tunnel in space-time, a wormhole. So scientists have created a wormhole inside a quantum computer, and they've simulated two black holes and sent data from one to the other using this wormhole. They say that physical wormholes, sending things through physical wormholes, still remains in the realm of science fiction. But I guess they've done it in a simulation. I don't understand how you can do this. I don't understand the minds you need for this, but I mean, let's read about it. If it looks like it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. So that's what we can say at this point. So I guess they did what they wanted to do. But I mean, okay. Caltech physicist Maria Spiralupoulou, a co-author of the research, let's see here, a baby wormhole, and now hopes to make the adult wormholes and toddler wormholes step by step. The wormhole dynamics were observed on a quantum device at Google called the Sycamore Quantum Processor. I'd say this doesn't teach us anything about quantum gravity that we didn't already know. On the other hand, I think it's exciting as a technical achievement because if we can't even do this, then simulating more interesting quantum gravity theories would certainly be off the table. Okay, I get what it's saying now. So my view is like, I think what scientists are saying is, hey, look, okay, we've simulated these black holes. We've simulated sending data, through this wormhole in this computer. And I think what they're saying is like, yes, we can't do this in the physical world yet. But if we couldn't do this in a simulation, then there'd be no chance that we can do this in a physical world. So it's like basically like, proving that this actually is a thing that can exist, I think helps them maybe sell the idea later on or even try to, prove the theory about physical objects. So all in all, very cool. I mean, they say, so don't hold your breath about sending your dog through the wormhole, but you got to start somewhere. Exactly. I mean, I think this is amazing. I think this is like, I mean, what's crazy is Einstein, right? Einstein is what's crazy. Einstein's theory of general relativity. Such wormholes are still consistent with Einstein's theory of general relativity. I mean, I'm the kind of guy when I'm thinking about science and I'm thinking about all that stuff is, I tend to think that nothing we know currently or nothing we ever really know at any time will ever be true in the grand sense of the universe, right? Like science is always improving. So nothing, is ever right except for what, each iteration gets better. And that's what science is all about, right? So for these to fit within Einstein's theory of general relativity is like, okay. But at the same time, I don't know anything about science. Don't get me wrong, or physics or anything. But it's only a matter of time before we prove that bad boy wrong, guaranteed. And I believe, I mean, what was Einstein into? He was into quantum physics by the end of his life, was he not? So, I mean, I don't want to be like Einstein's wrong kind of guy, but but you never know, guys. You never know what happens with science in the future. Anyways, this is a weird way to end this segment, but I think this is a very cool thing. I think the future of science is getting crazy. The future of computing is getting crazy. I mean, here's a little side note. I don't know if you guys are into cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whatever, but the way that Bitcoin works, right, is that it uses, a computer needs to solve an equation. But what happens and whatever, long story short, that keeps it safe. But what happens when the computers become quantum computers? Like if a computer can, if we're using quantum computers that are technically um making black holes and like simulating wormholes and stuff, like could they not, those same computers, could they not, solve these Bitcoin things very quickly and destroy blockchains? Because it's like, was the blockchain technology built to withstand computers? Anyways, this is not space news anymore. Now we're getting into tangents, guys. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. Like, is this worthwhile doing these simulations? Should scientists do this? And also let me know what you think about the whole Bitcoin thing if you want. Is Bitcoin gonna get cracked by like these types of computers? I mean, let me know, guys. Let me know. Anyways, let's move on to the second one. Get a little more spacey in here. Okay. China and NASA are racing to the moon. Side by side photos hint NASA has the edge, but China's secrecy makes the race hard to call. Interesting. That's right. So the Shenzhou 15 mission, which is here, just lifted off on this week, I believe. Just lifted off this week. And I think they're in the space station, the Chinese space station. They've just transferred off the first set of humans. China and NASA are racing towards the first human moon landing in 50 years. I love it. The space race is back on. I love it. Two, I don't think there has to be winners and losers. I think we're all winners. Everyone involved in the space race is a winner in my eyes. Two recent launches suggest NASA has an edge, but China is close, could be close behind. Side by side images show how NASA and China are overlapping. Very cool. It doesn't. I don't know. Like there doesn't seem to be like the whole Russia. You know, the whole space race from the '60s was Russia versus, or I guess USSR, Russia, whatever, versus the Americans. Like this one doesn't. This space race doesn't seem like that hostile. I guess this is just like, to me, this is just like people want to get out there. You know, space is heating up. You know, it's only a matter of time before people get out there. Space is heating up, and I mean, I think competition is welcome. Without competition in space, I mean, there's nothing will ever get done, right? Like if China never decided to go to space, or US or whatever, the other country's not going to do it. So, I mean, bring it on, bring on the competition. That's what I say. So very interesting. So here we go. That's the International Space Station, and there's China's Tiangong Space Station, which obviously looks way more new. I mean, it's only a matter of time before this bad boy gets decommissioned, I believe. NASA chief sees China as an aggressive competitor. Aggressive competitor. I like what are we talking about aggressive competitor here? What does that truly mean? They want to land astronauts on the moon's south pole by 2025. That will be incredible. I will really. China could land its own people on the moon by 2030. The secrecy of their moon program makes it hard for outside analysts to assess that timeline. NASA thinks that that timeline's right. We have every reason to believe that we have a competitor, a very aggressive competitor in the Chinese, going back to the moon with taikonauts. Interesting. The United States government that we want to be there first back on the moon over half a century. So it's a space race. But I mean, Bill Nelson, this guy needs to. He's done his time in NASA, that's for sure. Very interesting. I mean, here's the thing, right? This guy is just basically saying, like, hey, China's going to the moon. We need more money. And that's, I mean, for me, it's like, yeah, you'll get more money. I mean, why not use that as the reason? I just don't think it's a hostile thing. Why has it got to be hostile? I mean, the moon's big. I mean, it's not as big as Earth, but I mean, it's big. We're getting out there. I mean, obviously, it's crazy. So, again, welcome. I welcome the competition. I say the more competition, the merrier, especially with the private sector getting on board. It's going to be a great time, right? I mean, this is obvious. Base building on the moon is groundwork for the bigger space race, Mars. That's obvious. We know that. That's when it's going to get crazy. But I mean, if NASA lands 2025 astronauts on the moon, China's shortly after 2030, I can't see Mars not happening in our lifetime, to be honest. I really can't. I can totally see it happening. 100%. Okay, next up we have, oh, this is cool. Somalia meteorite. Joy as scientists find 2 new minerals. This is very cool. Huge meteorite fell to Earth. This kind of goes, last week a meteorite fell in Canada, and I was kind of talking about, like, would I give it back? Would I, whatever? So this one, a Somalia meteorite has fallen, and it contains 2 minerals never before seen on our planet. Very cool. They call the stone Nightfall. How badass is that, right? I mean, is that not the start of an RPG campaign, right? Like this meteorite falls, it's called Nightfall, and all this weird shit starts happening, and ghouls and goblins and orcs and stuff started coming out of the ground. I mean, Who decided to call it Nightfall? Because if they don't play, they're World of Warcraft players for sure. They're Dungeons and Dragons guys. They're right into that stuff, guaranteed. They say it's documented in poems, songs, and dances stretch back 5 generations. It's used today to sharpen knives. Wait, what? They found it 2 years ago. Okay, and what it was so people so what? So what they found this thing and then people are sharpening their knives with it? Okay. Okay. The official names for the new minerals are Eolite, and Elkastananite. They were identified by the scientists of University. Why does it say Somalia? Was it found in Canada or just the people in Alberta are looking at it? They're identified by scientists at the University of Alberta who looked at a 70-gram fragment from a 15-ton meteorite. Oh my lord. Ninth biggest to reach our planet and 90% iron and nickel. The name Elilite honors the fact the meteorite was unearthed in the district of El Ali in Somalia. And Elkinstananite is named after NASA expert Lindy Elkinstanton. Elkins Tanton. Lindy's done a lot of work on the cores of how planets form. Interesting. But there's no new news on the actual meteorite. Okay, so I was hoping that we were gonna learn about like what those minerals do, but okay, I guess we're not going to find out. But I always think personally, when they find I just think it's insane to think that with the level of science and everything that we have, that we're still finding out new things like meteorites, and minerals and new things, like how are we finding these new things that supposedly are so basic? And I think it's like when you think about it's coming from space, and when you think about that, it's like the possibilities are unlimited with the amount of things that could be out there that we're just, we get little snippets of falling into Earth as meteorites. Anyways, I thought that was a cool little story. I wish there was more there, but whatever. Moving on. Moving on. This is less a space fact, and I mean NASA's doing it, but it's like we all know this, guys. Global warming, whatever, blah 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 is coming. Rising sea levels could swamp the U.S. coastline by 2050. You think we're going on the moon in 2025? World's going to be destroyed in 2050. So that basically gives us, from the first moon landing in the modern era, which I will call, the Artemis 2025, gives us what 25 years to hopefully get the Earth in order. Otherwise, I guess we're just gonna live on the moon at that point. I mean, 25 years, is that enough time to possibly live on the moon and have like a whole bunch of stuff? Maybe we'll be on Mars by then. Anyways, sea levels are rising faster than previously thought. What I find funny about this is like, is that not what they always say? The sea levels are always rising faster than they thought, which means it's just like spiraling out of control. Yeah, I mean NASA found this out, so low-lying coastal cities are going to get rocked, as we know. NASA's finding this out. The findings support the higher range scenarios later in February. The report suggests that significant sea level rise light the U.S. coast within the next 30 years. 10 to 14 inches of rise. Isn't that crazy? 14 to 18 on the Gulf Coast and 4 to 8 on the West Coast. Isn't that crazy? That's a lot. So anyways, I guess they did like a whole study. They built their methods using the earlier multi-agency report. Team of researchers and scientists based in the JPL and lab. Yeah, I mean, using satellites to advance understanding of Earth. They obviously know. They must know at this point just truly how screwed we really are. But at the same time, I mean, there's all these naysayers. Hear me out here. There's all these naysayers about climate change, right? And it's always, right? All the time. And yes, it's horrible. And yes, we're destroying the Earth. And yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's bad. But like for me, I always find that eventually it's gonna get so bad that we're just gonna be like, all right, we're gonna fix it now. And it's like I don't think there's ever a too late moment. I don't think there's a too late moment. I think it's like things will slowly start to get bad. I think as soon as we start to actually feel that process, right? Like that whole that saying, what is it, like a frog in a boiling pot of water? Like you put it in when the water's cold and then you start boiling the water and it never truly feels how hot it is until it's dead. But I don't think that's gonna be us. I think it's like there's gonna be that limit where we're like, oh my god, like this is hot. We got to get out of here. So I think all this doom and gloom about global warming, but I honestly think we'll fix it. I mean, we'll fix it. We'll get out there. I don't know how. I don't know where. I don't know how. But we'll definitely fix it before it gets too wild. Because at the end of the day, it's like the Earth is like a spaceship flying through space, right? And we're inside of this spaceship, and yet nobody realizes we're on this spaceship, right? Like we're just everyone's doing their own little thing here and there, and they're just existing on the spaceship, but they don't realize it is a spaceship. And so when it's going to get destroyed, right? I mean, it's like if you're on a spaceship and all of a sudden the water starts leaking, dripping on your head, you ain't going to keep flying it and just close your eyes. No, you're going to sit there and fix it. So I think it's like once it becomes crazy, humanity's amazing, right? Civilization's amazing, humanity's amazing. We're going to get together, we're going to fix it. I have no doubt in my mind that will continue to exist for a long time. And maybe, the whole, I honestly think like going to the moon, going to Mars, like to me, that opens people's eyes to just how unfathomably hostile space is as an environment for like creatures like us to live. So once you understand that fact, right? Once you know how hard it is to live in space, I think that gives you an appreciation for the Earth. My opinion, all is well. It's getting bad. We're gonna have to obviously correct it. Obviously, it starts with giant corporations, but at the end of the day, it starts with us, buying their services and goods. Yeah, I mean, guys, I think we're all right. Moving on. This is so cool. Microbes could potentially survive on Mars for 280 million years. Like what? Isn't that just crazy to think? So new research suggests a tough bacteria called D. radiodurans could long withstand harsh Martian radiation in a state of stasis under the surface. So basically, they're saying if microbes somehow found their way under the surface of Mars, they could survive for 280 million years. Right? Which is crazy. This is a cool little saying right here, right? If and when humans venture to Mars, they're going to need to consider how long the microbes they bring with them might set up shop on the red planet. It's true, right? When we come there and we live there, there's going to be microbes that we're bringing. And what will they do on Mars, right? How will they survive? Apparently, they can. Radiation's a ticking clock. Mars is not a friendly place, as we know. The red planet is bone dry, freezing cold desert with hardly any atmosphere to speak of. Been that way for billions of years. But while stepping out unprotected on the Martian surface wouldn't end well for you, it would be particularly concerning for microbes. Yeah, so they would die. But a lot of bacteria can survive desiccation, which means I think lack of water. Spores of Bacillus can survive desiccation with a giggle and a laugh. Very interesting. So the bacteria radiodurans seen here should be able to survive the harsh radiation environment of Mars for hundreds of millions of years. Very cool. If the new studies results are confirmed, the extremely long potential survival time of D. radiodurans suggests that the DNA-based life on Mars, if it ever evolved there, could still exist there. So I think that's what this article is mainly trying to get at, which is so cool, is that if there is life on Mars, or was life on Mars at any point, there could be possibly microbes surviving underneath the surface this entire time, even with the radiation and the dry desert and the very thin atmosphere. It's proving that they don't know if there's microbes there, but it's proving that the possibility to have microbes there is a thing. So that's pretty interesting, actually. I mean, for me, I think that's pretty cool. I got nothing else to say. That's just an awesome little story. Okay, moving on. Now, this is kind of similar to what we just talked about. NASA scientists create black hole jets with supercomputer. What are they doing with these supercomputers? Okay, moving on. NASA scientists create black hole jets with supercompute. Okay, moving on. NASA scientists create black hole jets with supercomputer. Okay. So where are they getting these computers, man? What's going on with these computers? I tell you, these NASA guys got to get their hands off computers. They're gonna explode our worlds. Okay, so the NASA Center for Climate Simulations, what were they doing? They ran 100 simulations exploring jets, narrow beams of energetic particles that emerge at nearly light speed from supermassive black holes. These behemoths sit at the centers of active star-forming galaxies, like our own Milky Way, and can weigh millions of billions of times the mass of the sun. Millions of billions the mass of the sun. Very crazy. So they regulate gas in the center of the galaxy and affect things like star formation rate and how the gas mixes with surrounding particles. For the simulations, they focused on less studied low luminosity jets and how they determine the evolution of the host galaxies. Let's watch this. Let's just see what NASA has done.
There are some problems in astrophysics that can't be solved
Too long.
Don't understand
by gravity.
and are very compact.
We know some things about the AGN, but we don't know everything. Is novas and
this
or
is
what
next
you're
level
going to
stuff,
use,
guys.
you have to explain.
New simulations carried out. Let's find out. Because these jets are more difficult to detect, the simulations help astronomers link these interactions to features they can observe, like various gas motions and optical X-rays. Enter NASA supercomputer-enabled simulations. That's just crazy. What's crazy to me is like they have like a. Are you telling me NASA has a supercomputer with like the universe on it? Like they're playing Universe Simulator except on an actual giant supercomputer, and people still think we're not in a simulation. I mean, come on, people. 80,000 core hours on this computer. Wow. Being able to use the NASA supercomputing resource allow us to explore a much larger parameter space, and if we had to use more modest researches, that's so cool. Like, yeah, I mean, they don't have to. They're not playing Universe Simulator like I have. They're playing like literal Universe Simulator, right? Like to the literal. It's just that's crazy. It's crazy. What computers are going to be is just insane to me. The fact that NASA is like doing all this crazy stuff with it. Wow, guys. Okay, moving on. Speaking of jets, speaking of supermassive black holes shooting jets. Well, how about scientists just discovered one shooting a jet at the speed of light towards Earth. So scientists have found a supermassive black hole that is shot a jet almost at the speed of light towards Earth. Somewhere right now in the infinite span of the universe, a star is approaching the gaping maw of a black hole. Once it gets close enough, it gets pulled apart into spaghettification. I like that. Resulting in massive jet of energy that can potentially be detected from Earth. Tidal disruption event. Okay, so a team of astronomers witnessed the most distant tidal disruption event in recent history. This was just November 30th, too, so this is very recent. The researchers reported detecting a supermassive black hole swallowing a star roughly 12.4 billion light years away in an event dubbed whatever. It was so bright that it was observed using optical telescopes. That's crazy. So the event gave them insights how supermassive black holes are formed and what our universe looked like when it was young. So the luminous jet of material was launched at almost the speed of light, and the jet was pointing in our direction. Extremely rare phenomenon, and it's even rarer that it can be observed at all because the jet is collimated, which means we can observe only if we're very close to the direction in which it's pointing. Wow. The light from the event traveled through the cosmos for roughly 8.5 billion years before we even seen it, before it reached Earth. So that means what we're witnessing is 8.5 billion years old. It's like we're looking through a time machine. That means it occurred when the universe was just a third of its current age. So it's a very young universe. That's That's very cool. Unveiling a population of such rare transients means we can greatly improve our understanding of the violent universe. So it's so cool that we can just, you know, everything we see that's coming into us, especially the farther away it is. I mean, it's like we're looking at a time machine because when the light gets to us, I mean, whatever the hell is going on in that part of the universe, 8.5 billion light years away, whatever's going on over there is, you know, it's doing something new that we can't see because the light hasn't reached us yet. I just find that so fascinating, so cool. And yeah, there you go. This is very cool. Check this out. This is an image of Venus. The lander, I forget which lander it was, but a lander landed. Let me back that up. I forget. Okay, this is so cool. This is, let me see here. Venus lander image. Okay.
These are the only
Okay, this is so cool. Check this image out. This is an image of the surface of Venus that was taken by a Soviet craft in the 80s. But I just find this, like, when you seriously consider what we're looking at right now, like, this is literally Venus. It's a planet we've never, nobody knows what's going on. This is the surface of Venus. Obviously, look at that. It's very parched. It's probably just cooking in heat. Venus is crazy hot. But I just think this is so, so cool. Like, this to me, I don't know what it is, but something about Venus, maybe it's the cloud coverage and the heat and the craziness of the planet. Just seems so much more mysterious than Mars does. And so when you see images from it, and I don't know why, have we not been back since? Have we not been back to Venus since 1982 to take a picture of the surface? I mean, I don't think this craft lasted very long on it. But do we have other pictures? Yeah, I do. I have other pictures from it. These are very, I mean, they're all similar, but so cool. Just so cool. We got to go back to Venus. I mean, what's going on? Forget Mars. Let's go back to Venus. Let's transform that. Let's make it a little less hot, and we'll live there. I don't know. It's supposed to be like Earth, isn't it? It's like Mars, but hot. I don't know. Anyways, guys, this is an amazing, amazing photo. I love it. Okay, moving on. We are now going to. Oh, this is a really cool thing. So this right here, check this out. Oh, this is too big. Shrink it down. Okay, so this is really cool. This is the relative rotation speeds of the planets, and they're visualized. So basically what this is showing you is how fast a planet is rotating around itself. How fast a planet is spinning, basically. Yeah, so as we can see, let's start with Earth, right? So Earth, as we know, one spin of Earth is a day, right? Venus, though, look at that. Venus, I believe also Venus, a year is shorter than a day on Venus. So Venus is almost a full Earth year to spin. 1 day on Venus is almost a full Earth year. Mercury, about 60 days is one full spin. Let's go down to Mars. Mars is very similar to Earth, which is crazy. Like when you think of these two planets together and how similar that they are. I mean, look at that. 24 hours, 36 minutes versus 23 hours. Like it's just like 30 minutes off. Like it's so similar, Mars and Earth, but obviously different. This one I find crazy. I mean, this must be the storms. Jupiter, look at how fast Jupiter is just flying by. It's easily the fastest one. It's easily the fastest spinning planet. And it must be the storms. It must be the craziness. But what's like mind blowing about that is the planet is just so much bigger than all the other planets, right? Like, look how fast Earth is spinning and Mars. And then look how fast Jupiter's spinning, knowing how much huger that planet is, right? And the same kind of goes for Saturn. Like, Saturn is super huge. And it's going a little bit slower than Jupiter, but not much. Saturn and Jupiter very similar. Earth and Mars very similar. It's weird. Venus is like this weird standout when you see it like this, right? And Mercury's kind of its own thing too. I mean, you want to talk standouts? Let's go over here. Let's look at Uranus. It's going backwards. It's like what the heck's going on here? It doesn't know what's happening. It's literally, out of all the planets are going one way, and Uranus is going the opposite way, and it's taking 17 hours to do it. So very interesting. It's also interesting how Neptune is basically the same time. Like Uranus and Neptune are the same. Jupiter and Saturn are the same. Earth and Mars are the same. Like we have like these like twins in. It's kind of cool to think about like that. But Neptune is going the proper way, 16 hours. So more normal, still fast, still very fast compared to Earth and stuff. But Uranus is going the opposite way, which is very strange. Anyways, I just thought this was a very cool visualization to look at. Just neat. This is just neat stuff. Space is just neat. And when you look at things like this visualized, it kind of gives you that data of like, wow, things are like weird. You know what I mean? Like things are similar and things are different. It's just it's neat. It's neat, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Next up, we have Mars might be ripping its slowly. Here we go. Mars might be Mars. Let me try again. Mars may be slowly ripping its largest moon apart. Weird. A new study has revealed the weird parallel grooves on the surface of Mars' largest moon, Phobos, could be a sign that the red planet's gravity is ripping the satellite apart. Very interesting. Mars' largest moon, Phobos, and you'll also know Phobos from Doom fame, of course. Later on that, it's being ripped apart by the extreme gravitational forces exerted on by the red planet. I've always found Phobos is weird too, because it's not actually like, if you look at Mars's moon, Phobos, it's not actually round. It's like a weird, yeah, see, it's like a weird little shape, right? Yeah, it's like a little potato. There's Phobos. It's like a little, a little Mars potato. And where are we here? So, maybe what if it's been being ripped apart this whole time, right? Let's see here. So okay. 17 miles across its widest point, orbits Mars at 6,000 kilometers, whereas the moon orbits at 3,400 kilometers. Oh, wait, sorry, never mind. No, way farther. Okay, sorry. 6,000 kilometers is where Phobos orbits, whereas the moon orbits Earth at 384,000 kilometers. Okay, so that makes more sense. Unlike the moon, the Phobos orbit around Mars is not stable. The tiny satellite is trapped in a death spiral, slowly falling towards Mars. 6 feet every 100 years. Very interesting. It has a mysteriously stripy surface. Parallel grooves or surface striations cover the moon. So they think these grooves is what's from. Oh, I see. Interesting. You see these? Oh wait, it links its own article. Like, thank you so much. Let me click your picture so I can go to the article I'm already looking at. So look at those lines. So they're thinking that these lines are ripping the planet, are from gravity. Why would they think that? The tiger stripes dismissive the moon's powdery or fluffy composition, making it too soft for tracks to. So it's gonna hit Mars in about 40 million years. Oh God, what's gonna happen to the Earth? Oh my God. I want to save that and get into space universe simulator, and then fly Phobos into Mars. Let's see what that's all about. Interesting. Modeling Phobos as a rubble pile interior overlaid with cohesive layer, the tidal strain could create parallel fissures with regular spacing. So interesting, guys. Okay, moving on. NASA is listening to the echoes from a black hole. Listening to the light echoes. Okay. So one of the surprising features of a black hole is that although light, such as radio and X-rays, visible light, can't escape, which we know. but it can produce electromagnetic radiation. They travel outward. The blasted lights can bounce off clouds of gas and dust. A new sonification turns these light echoes from the black hole, V404 Cygni, into sound. Okay, let's listen. Let us listen to what a black hole sounds like. Okay, according to NASA. Interesting. It sounds to me like let's listen to this one. It sounds like fire, but also water. Like waves, like hitting a beach. I mean, you can get into some. I mean, to me, that sounds like fire mixed with waves hitting a beach, which is like, I mean, that's kind of mind blowing to myself. That's pretty cool. So that's now you know what a sonification of a light echo from a black hole sounds like. I'm stunned. that was weird, but cool. Yeah, so I just want to read a little bit more about that before we move on. So the material periodically generates bursts of radiation, and that's what they're capturing. Okay, so it translates the X-ray data into sound. The cursor moves outward from the center of the image as it passes through the light. Oh, interesting. Each star optical triggers a musical note, the volume and pitch of brightness of the star. Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, moving on, guys. We finally know how black holes produce the most brilliant light in the universe. How? Let's find out. For something that emits no light at all, which are black holes, we can detect black holes. This is like a big black hole day today. Black holes just love to cloak themselves in radiance. It's the brightest light in the universe comes from supermassive black holes. Well, not the black holes themselves, the material around them. Yes, the brightest of these maelstorms of swirling hot material are galaxies, lasers. Lasers, that just sounds cool. They glow with the heat of a swirling coat. What? They also channel material into blazing beams that zoom through the cosmos. So that's what just hit Earth, these huge giant beams. Very cool. So the mechanism producing the incredible high energy light that reaches us from billions of years ago is shocks in the black hole's jets that boost the speed of particles to mind-blowing velocities. Whoa. So is that like kinking a hose? Is that like what they're talking about? Like you kink, in the summertime, you kink your hose, stops the water, and then you let go and it's like, whoosh. Maybe that's like what this is, right? Most of the galaxies in the universe built around a supermassive black hole. They're mind-bogglingly large objects that sit in the center galaxy, doing very little, like ours, Sagittarius A star, black hole at the heart of the Milky Way. So essentially, yeah. So look at that. So wow. So that's how they're finding out. Brightest energy ever. So the blazer is shooting jets captured by the spacecraft, and you zoom in on these jets, and you can see shock wave. Anyways, this is crazy. Exactly how this jet accelerates to particles to such high speeds has been a giant cosmic question. But now, a powerful new X-ray telescope called the Imaging X-ray Polarity Explorer. Oh, polarimetry explorer. Wow. So we don't know what creates the shocks, but one possible mechanism is faster material in the jet catching up to slower moving clumps, resulting in collisions. Oh, that's interesting. That's just weird. The universe is so weird. So strange. So very, very strange. Okay, moving on. Researchers suggest wormholes may look almost identical to black holes. Okay, so researchers at Sophia University found as evidence it's just reason a wormhole has never been observed is that they're almost identical to black holes. Well, then how do they know that they exist? Okay. So he's been studying theoretical linear polarizations from an accretion disk that would be situated around a class of static traversable wormholes, and compared to the finding, black holes. For many years, scientists and science fiction writers have considered the theoretically possibility of a wormhole, which we were just doing. We've never observed a wormhole or even used physical evidence that they exist, other than quantum physics computer that we just talked about. The problem is we lack the technology to see them, or we have not been looking for them in the right way. So, researchers noted that it should be possible to tell wormholes and black holes apart by noting subtle differences between them, such as polarization patterns and intensities in the radii. That's very interesting. So a black hole could look the exact same as a wormhole. So does that mean that we're calling current black holes, or sorry, we're calling current wormholes black holes when we should be calling them wormholes? But then how would we know the difference? If they look the same and the characteristics are the same, right? Assume distance. Very interesting. So they're very similar. So what if at the end of all this we find out black holes are just wormholes? That would be cool. Anyways, moving on. No, we didn't need that one. Okay. I have some Kerbal Space Program 2 news for everyone. As we know, this is a little bit older, but it's launching early access on February 24th for $50. Okay. I don't know how to feel about this. Guys. Early access. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I like it. It's gonna be allow players to see features there. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Kerbal Space Program 2. I am so looking forward to it. I'm looking for the new traveling to different galaxies and like all that kind of stuff. I'm really looking forward to all that. But I'm just afraid of the fact that it is an early access game. I can't remember if Kerbal, the original, was an early access game. I can't remember. I bought it very early, but I can't remember if it was actually early access. I mean, let's look at the features here. Wait, see, this is like... Oh, jeez, my microphone just fell off. For Christ's sakes. Okay, and now I have some Kerbal Space Program 2 news for you. The Kerbal Space Program 2 was announced that it is launching in early access on February 24th, 2023. I mean, I'll just start by saying I'm extremely pumped for this game, right? Especially all the new the tools that they have, especially the interstellar travel. I think that's going to be amazing. Building colonies on planets and moons and stuff. That's going to be amazing. Like being able to launch things from different planets and stuff. Multiplayer is going to be incredible. Trust me, guys. I am so pumped for Kerbal Space Program 2. But, and it's a big but, early access, it just terrifies me. Early access absolutely terrifies me. And a lot of games these days, I mean, they don't even use the early access thing as an excuse anymore. They just release the full, 1.0 game and it's like barely working. And I've got burned so many times, and Kerbal is like, I get it. I totally get it, because the game obviously is, I'm sure there's the physics involved in this game and the insanities and like what they're trying to do with the multiplayer and so on and so forth. And then, and then it's switched companies a couple times, I believe. And then it's like this whole situation happening with this game. They need the money. I mean, I'm just gonna guess that they just need the money. They just need the money. They need to release it on early access. They need everybody to get involved who are gonna play it, pump them full of money, then they can kind of like finish the game and release the game, right? But I'm always it's just, I don't know how to take it, guys, because it's like I don't understand how a developer can release a sequel in early access. That's what I don't get. And not only that, but like you're not an indie developer. You know what I mean? Like this is not an indie developer. Kerbal Space Program 1 was an incredible success, right? And they've updated it and everyone loves it. And then you have a sequel come out and it's early access. It doesn't make logical sense. Other than obviously they need money. I mean, it doesn't make like sense in their own, like they're obviously trying to spin it, right? They're trying to spin it by saying, oh yeah, whatever, you'll get constant updates. Like right here, right? Get a front row seat as major new systems. Like, what does that really mean? That really means buy the game and just sit there and don't even play the damn thing because none of the features that we're promising you are even in the game. Or if they are, they're so bugged out, so trash that like you can't even use it. You might as well buy our game, let it sit in your Steam account for like, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Maybe then we'll put out a couple more updates. Then you'll try it again. It's just like, I don't know that. I know that games are being released this way, and I know games are turning more into like service for games, right? Like paying monthly or battle passes or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It pains me that one of my favorite games, it pains me that one of my favorite games is going early access for the sequel, which makes no sense. I don't understand. Find me, somebody please go out there and find me another early access sequel from a publisher that's not an indie publisher. I don't get it. I do get it. It's greed, it's money. They don't have enough, they probably don't have enough people to finish this thing. They don't have enough time to finish it when they wanted to. Push is getting to shove. They have to release something. It's not ready. They know it's not ready. That's what scares me. If it was ready, they would just release it. But they know it's not ready, so they're releasing it on early access. It's a damn shame, guys. It's a damn shame. I mean, I'll still be buying it. Don't get me wrong. It's an incredible game. Let's just check this out real quick. 14 minutes.
Completely ability.
We don't need to watch
Position
that.
adjust. Everything looks, specifically the parts.
Yeah.
We have position
I'm really
adjust
looking
based.
forward to
Been
this.
having
I can't
People
lie.
might use
It's the early access that's just gonna, I don't know.
Tried to make a trip to Jewel.
Yeah.
It was kind of like
interstellar
slow.
travel. I'm looking forward to this game so much. I love Kerbal so much. I understand. I know, let's say I know 0.0001 about coding. So I understand how impossible this game must be to code and put together. And especially when you're interstellar and, no loading screens and like multiplayer and all. I get it. I'm buying it on this date. Don't get me wrong. Good or bad, I've spent so many hours on this game that I am buying it no matter what, good or bad. I just wanted to kind of release my frustrations on what I feel about the sadness, I guess I feel that it's not totally done. I mean, it's like, let's say you were to buy a house, right? You buy a house, a brand new house, you've never seen it before. You go inside, and all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, you don't have a bathroom. It's like, yeah, you're in the house. Yeah, this is the house you always wanted, but there's no bathroom, and you got to wait now. You're like, how long? You don't know. The guy will get there eventually. You're still in the house. Still a great house. But you got no bathroom. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Kerbal, guys. I'm still buying it. Don't get me wrong. I still love it. And yeah, that's it. And that's it, guys, for me. So hopefully you enjoyed this week of space news and space things and also video gaming Kerbal news. Until next time, guys, if you like this stuff, please subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment. Leave me a comment on any of those topics that you just watched. And otherwise, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.